Hey, what is up, guys? It's ElasticSpyder here from Brothers in Arms with the Warships, and today I have a game in my Emerald, the Tier 5 light cruiser from the Royal Navy. This is going to be the first British gameplay we have here on our channel, but it's pretty standard matchmaking, actually pretty good matchmaking for Tier 5, because they usually get paired up with the Tier 7s, so it's certainly good to see that I'm top tier. So these Royal Navy cruisers have just come out, and this is one of the lower tier ones, and I thought I'd make a commentary on it. So because it is a very transition point. But here I'm going over the consumables. We have hydroacoustic. It's a pretty good hydroacoustic. I believe it's second to the Germans. I could be wrong. But it's decent hydro. It's certainly better than the Americans, and that's for sure. Look at this repair party, because of course the British cruisers starting at tier 3 get a repair party, and then the all-important smoke that the Emerald gets. And from here on out, it lasts for 96 seconds. The caveat, though, is that it only blooms for 7 seconds, so it is slightly problematic. But those blooms, the diameter of those blooms are bigger. They are the biggest smoke screen of any smoke. So that is another thing that you kind of have on your side. So that is definitely a good thing. But again, you really have to be going around 14 knots before you deploy it to make sure you don't slide out of that smoke, because we wouldn't want that. And I will show you some examples of what to do and how to do it, and some examples on how not to do it, so you guys can kind of get an idea of how it works. So the Emerald, it gets 152 millimeter guns, and as you can see, it only gets AP. So kind of stuck with these AP on this ship, but it is not that bad. As you will see here, lightly yard cruisers do take quite a bit of damage. I will repair right here, because that destroyer that was shooting at me is going to be shooting at someone else now. So I just say, well, I'll just blow my repair in here now. Usually I would recommend waiting until you get the second fire, but in this case, you know, it always depends on the case, but I decide otherwise. So this is kind of as I mentioned earlier, kind of a transition point between, I don't know if you would consider them the lower tier and the lower mid tier. I say that because with the Leander you get actual turrets, whereas here you get turrets, but they're a single gun, you know, and the Leander gets multiple gun turrets. So I don't know, there's just something about having multiple guns and a single turret that just makes them feel so much more accurate, in my opinion. It's probably a placebo effect, but regardless, I think it's just a overall better ship that Leander is, for obvious reasons. It is kind of a upgrade, I guess, as well. So, but I'm kind of still experimenting on what works best for these cruisers, what ranges work best. I've tried a few different ranges. Up close, I'll start with up close. Up close is, you probably have the best potential to do a lot of damage, but at the same time you can alternatively get wiped out very, very quickly, because you have very, very little armor, and angling won't help you. In fact, 8-inch shells can actually penetrate your bow. So yeah, so that is a very, very big problem. And then of course, if there's any sort of angling, like most ships will do when they're in close, that the AP will just simply bounce off them, and you'll be doing no damage, and you'll get sunk really, really quickly. Then there's medium range. This is kind of the best range. This is, of course, at least for tier 5s, that's probably around 8 maybe to 10 kilometers. Yeah, maybe you could even say 12 kilometers, depending if you are getting up tiered. But as you saw there, that was a good example of how to use my smoke. Just to point that out, I slowed down to around 14, 15 knots, and then I popped it and then continually slowed down, and then I stayed within my smoke screen. So yeah, so this cruiser works decently. 8, around from 8 to 12, I think that is certainly one of its better sweet spots, because then you get to long range, and then your AP has trouble penetrating superstructures and penetrating the citadels of lightly armored cruisers. So that's slightly problematic for the Emerald. Of course, it doesn't have HE, so anytime you have a ship running away, that's going to be more difficult for you, and that's another thing you'll encounter a little bit more often at longer ranges. But when you land a lot of shells on the superstructure and getting those deck penetrations, you will certainly be very, very happy with your damage. But at the same time, you can get certain salvos that just don't go your way. But I think it's very, very interesting that they actually gave the British cruisers smoke at this tier. Usually smoke is you only use for premium or reward ships, but the whole British cruiser line gets them, starting with the Emerald. Of course, I'm not too sure, don't quote me on this, but starting at, I believe, tier 8, you can switch out the smoke for radar. I believe that's the option you get. So yeah, that is kind of something you'll have to decide for yourself. However, I believe that the smoke is much more valuable, just for the fact that sometimes you really do need to, hide and stop getting focused. So having that is a very nice thing. Here, I pop my Hydro. I see that the enemy Isokaze is within torpedo range of me. So while I'm trying to Citadel the Dane, the Koenig Citadels me, and I'm trying to avoid his torpedoes whilst also making a pretty hard target to hit. Hopefully I can dodge these. We'll see about that. And oh god. Oh god. I instantly repair. Didn't want to be full broadside to that Dane. But I just ended up eating that torpedo. I popped my smoke. Again, another good smoke. I slowed down to approximately 15 knots or so before, deploying my smoke, or starting to at least. Here again, I do make a bit of a mistake. I try to get both kills because I'm a greedy person and I want a double strike. But the Dane dies, and then this Isokaze will die to our friendly battleship. Just to the left of me, I can't see what that is. Koenig. Okay, so I probably should have focused that destroyer and just killed him outright. But regardless, I'm going to move on. The smoke is pretty good. It lasts for 96 seconds. It's again second to only the United States destroyer smoke, so you can sit in this for quite a while. 96 seconds to be exact. So you can definitely do a lot of work with that. And of course, possibly sneak in another ship into your smoke as well. It's always nice to see an American destroyer come along and give you some smoke. That's always fun to see. I'm a little hesitant. I don't want to push into B, but I end up making kind of a poor choice, but I wasn't very satisfied with the 50,000 damage that I already had, so I said, well, let's just go balls deep. Why not? So anyway, so I'm gonna push this Kaiser Normally I would say this is a bad idea, but again, I have other feelings. I want to get a commentary for you guys in the new British cruisers, because I'm sure you guys are waiting. You're probably asking, like, where is it? Where's the British cruisers? They've been out for 5 days or whatever. So, well, it's finally here, boys and girls. So, I of course slowed down and turned into the Kaiser shells, so all of those just go right by. I don't have to worry about them. Here, I'm gonna turn away now, because I am not anywhere near. Oh my gosh, excuse me, I'm tired. It's like 3 in the morning, but I'm gonna turn away. He's not in torpedo range. The torpedoes are decent. You get 4 on each side, or 8 on each side, in 4 or 2x4 sets. So you get 2 torpedo tubes or torpedo launchers, but you get 4 tubes per launcher. Wow, that took a long time. And here we go. Here's a bad example of me trying to deploy a smoke screen and me frantically trying to get back into the smoke. Come on, reverse. Come on. You're taking too much time. But so hopefully this Koenig will be sailing straight and stupid, and I can land a lot of torpedoes on him. Ooh, 1,000 damage, or 1,000 HP left. I managed to get back into my smoke before the Koenig kills me. Again, aiming at his superstructure, but yeah. And oh boy, here comes torpedoes. Well, I'm looking like I'm dead. Yep, they hit my bow. Not much I can do. Kind of expecting that. And oh my gosh, I don't know how that one missed, but it literally scratched the paint off the ship. But yeah, I die here a little bit early, but I managed to do a decent amount of damage, and this should definitely be a win. No reason that it shouldn't be. So I will now move on to the post-battle statistics, so you guys don't have to watch all of this. But I managed to get some good credits, 242,000. It's tier 5, so I'm not expecting too much. 76,000 damage, 3,000 XP total for 604 free XP. Not bad with 1 ship killed. Moving on to the team score, I beat my next competitor on my team by about 100 points. So although 76,000 damage isn't the best for tier 5, I still managed to do better than my team. So these are a very good cruiser to have. And then detailed report and credits, pretty basic for tier 5. But that just about wraps it up here for me, ElasticSpyder here from Brothers in Untitled Warships, signing out.